And we're live.
Yeah,
Welcome, everyone, to today's Talking Live with Macy. I'm sorry to keep all of you waiting. I'm sure that today our guest knows it's the same drill, and I know it's a very rainy Sunday today, but we're going to wait for the count to reach 15 people before we officially begin. I see one like. Now we suddenly have a jump of 7 people watching. Once we have achieved 15 people, then I will officially begin. Today's topic is an interesting topic indeed. All right, we have 17 people officially watching, which means that I'm gonna start right now. Hi, Mandy. For those of you who are cancer survivors, I highly encourage you to stay back till the end. Why? Because we're giving away very exciting premiums and gifts that you can use for your own genetic testing. And for a lot of you, I would highly encourage you to stay through this session, ask your questions, keep the questions, write it down, or you can even comment your questions right now because I want to pick it up as we go along. Because today's topic is something we call new age technology medicine, and I feel that this is very, very beneficial for everyone. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to officially begin. Welcome to Talking Live with Macy. Thank you for joining me on this very rainy Sunday. And I'm so happy to see all of you so interested in this topic. I have been a fan of genetic testing, or rather, I have an avid interest in genetic tests it has been a long time. So I want to share my experiences with all of you before we actually pass it over to Dr. Ling. So, some of the things that I want to highlight to you is that I chanced upon genetic testing 2 years after my cancer. And at that point of time, I tested for 56 genes to be exact. I can remember this very clearly. And that is all my wellness genes, such as cardiovascular, inflammation, I believe detoxification, and also metabolism. So these genes told me the things that I needed to take in terms of supplements and also, let's say, the exercises that I was supposed to do. So that provided me with that particular knowledge. Then, 2 years ago, I chanced upon another genetic test. And that wasn't a very good one, I would say, because they approached me online. I tried it out and I felt that it wasn't real because they were telling me redundant things through an app. And it was genes that I felt, okay, let me give you an example. One of the genes they told me or tested me for was musical abilities. And they said that I'm very gifted in musical abilities. But I swear until today, I don't think that I am gifted at all in musical abilities. So I didn't trust that test. I did not, when I found out my results, I didn't attempt to promote it or talk about it after that. Then last year, I had a health scare. I will talk about it when I'm ready. So I hope you guys will give me time and one day I'll share about it. But I had a health scare last year and I was scrambling to find out more about the genetic tests that would actually tell me whether I had the genes to Lynch syndrome. So if you don't know what Lynch syndrome is, for young people like me who have colorectal cancer at a young age and have no genetic history, it's very rare. So I thought that I had the possibility of getting Lynch syndrome at that point of time. So I was really, really afraid. I wanted to find a genetic test that could test for that. And I found it in genomics. And I'm very thankful that I don't have the genes for Lynch syndrome. But they also provided me information on my oncology profile, which tells me at what type of cancers that I'm at higher risk for. That provided me very useful information. And type 2 diabetes runs heavily in my mom's side of family. I wanted to know whether I had that genes as well. And unfortunately, I do. So when I found that out, I immediately started taking precautions to cut down my sugar. I love desserts, by the way. So it provided me information that I needed to know. So that's why today we have the founder and MD, who is one of the panel doctors for Dynamics. He's the founder and MD of Gem Clinic, and he actually does quite a bit of genetic testing as well. And he's here with us. So please ask your questions that you need to know about genetic testing. All the queries, just direct it at Dr. Ling. We have Dr. Lenzo Ling, the founder and MD of Gem Clinic, here today. So, hi, Dr. Ling.
Hi, Maisie. Yep.
Yeah,
Great
so
to, yeah,
yes. So I know I spoke a little bit about my experiences earlier.
yeah.
So now we're going to find out more about genetic testing. I think this session is going to be all you. So my first
Okay.
question is, perhaps before we go into the part of genetic testing, you could
Yeah.
tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think you have done some kind of introductions. Yeah. Thanks, Maisie.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm great that, you have a personal experience into this DNA test. It's very real. And that is how you have really personally been, and really real life of what you really gain, out of it. Okay. So myself is, I'm a founder and as Maisie told, I'm founder of the GEM Clinic, and I'm in the medical line aesthetic and regenerative and line for the last 15 years, 1 5. So practices. So basically DNA test, I've been encountered it since 2012, which is about like 8 years back. Then from there on, I take a lot more, like slowly studying into this type of DNA test, and it's getting up more of like a interesting, getting us, go deeper and deeper. It's like a really a super blue oceans, basically. At that time, I think that not many people are aware of such a available of technology available in Malaysia here. So basically, what we can hear is usually from Australia or from US or from Korea or Japan. So at that time, of course, in terms of that, so many people not aware and public is not aware, and not many practitioners in the market are pushing the kind of genetic tests available in the market. But now today, I'm sure that this thing, as the times move on, as the technology move on, and this thing become more accessible, I would say that in Gem Clinic, we are able to provide this kind of services for you to give you in depth into what you really need, because to do the DNA test is really give you tons and tons of reports. You see, if you do not know what
Yeah.
you're looking for, you'll be drowned and overwhelmed by it. So it's important to get the right practitioners or the right trusted doctors that you can interpret for you, even though after the report and advise accordingly based on the reports. Otherwise, you will get the redundant reports, which is not necessary, and you can kind of like wasting the money for nothing. You see, so it's important to get a practitioner consultation first before you embark to decide to which test that you really want. Okay, all right. So that is
So,
a little bit of me. Yeah.
so Dr. Ling, the genetic testing falls under the regenerative medicine part, right?
Okay, regenerative medicine is a solution provider for can be used as a solutions after we know the DNA report. So, for
Okay.
example, like the deficiency in the vitamins in the nutrigenomics, like that you know that what kind of uh, vitamins that you're lacking of or deficient of, then we can use these supplements to come and supplement you to for the part of the regenerative process. Yeah. So it can be
Okay.
complement into this regenerative. Yeah.
So, what made you
Mm.
want to start studying about genetic testing?
Okay, because we know that day in day out. First of all, I think it's important to understand that DNA testing is not a diagnostic. It's a more of like giving you predictions in ahead, and preventive measure is more of it. Because why make you more interested into this DNA testing? Because we know that all this while, in the medical school we are trained to diagnose. That means when the disease or problem occurs. So by the time you diagnose, of course, you can see, you can scan, and it's already too late. You already you get a disease of a certain illnesses, right? And what we are moving backwards right now, if we can prevent it from early days by knowing what condition in one's body, then if you can do some life modifications or lifestyle modifications, or you can improve on certain deficiencies, lacking of certain nutritional deficiencies, you can help it out, or you might have bad habits that you want to overcome it. By knowing this in ahead, I believe that it will give you more well-informed decisions, and to prevent that you are more succumb into the situations of the high risk conditions. So that's why this DNA testing is like more of a preventive, which I think that is very, very important, as we always know that, preventive is better than cure. So indeed, it is
Yes,
true. Yeah. So why
I
you have
agree.
when you have a choice, when you have options, why do you want to wait for the disease to occur and develop into the maturity and that make you suffer, right? So and that will cost you more indeed. Yeah, in terms of
I
medical
agree.
bills and others. Yeah. Okay. So that's made
So
us like why you
what?
want to go into the area.
So
Hmm.
that is the reason why you wanted to go into the area. I see.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits of doing genetic testing? I think this is for the audience already. Like we all
Yeah.
want to know what are the benefits.
Okay, as you can catch some of my sentences of like when I explain the benefit of the genetic testing is again I repeat again it's not a diagnostic test. Okay, it is a prediction. Prediction that means you are well informed. So the benefit of it when you know that, for example, I give you some kind of example. You have a heart risk. I mean like a higher risk of heart attack, and whether you only know that okay for your family history, in your run in your head, run in your family history but does it? How is it like hereditary part of it? You only just know that oh, because your father got it, or your mother got it, or maybe your grandparents have it. You are giving a guessing, but it doesn't have already stats or data that telling you that how much risk that you have, right? So, but with this genetic testing, it will give you a set of data, like you are at a medium risk, at a this two times more risk, or three times more risk of having this kind of heart attack or something in some point of life. So, when you know this kind of informations, so the benefit is then you have to change your lifestyle because, like, if you're smoking, probably you have to reduce and stop smoking, all right, and you have to eat more CoQ10 and then to improve your cardiovascular systems better. And then probably alcohol intake you might have to reduce it to minimal level, not to overdose it yourself. And of course, some others you might have to improve your exercise level to spend more time in your routine, in your daily routine. So all these things you can craft it, you can modify it accordingly when you are well more informed. I believe that when people are more well informed, they will know what to do. A lot of times do not know, we ourselves do not know, why is it happen. It's just that oh, because my father have it, my family history have it, or my family. But some people might not even write the like the parents doesn't have it. How come I'm succumb to the heart attack conditions? So all these things because DNA test will tell you in ahead of it. I'm just giving the one of the example. Another example is maybe like in terms of child development. So another one DNA test that certain there is a test that that can measures on the child development whether the child have a learning abilities like a dyslexic conditions or whether it's a ADHD like attention deficit hyperactive disorder or something or some autism a risk of it before the child having this kind of a full-blown symptom that you can notice by the parents. So by knowing this much ahead, then you know what precaution you need to take so that your child doesn't develop into such a situations whereby they have to go into into the special school. So all this like autism kids like it doesn't blown up, that it doesn't like just like come overnight. Over the time, if you know the test in advance, then you will try to do some kind of like training or modifications of learning for their kids. What I mean, as a parents, I believe that everyone want the best for their kids, right? And want to spend, in terms of like education, in terms of like nutrition, in terms of rest, in terms of like try to upbringing their kids to the best. You see, so I believe that by knowing this, and that they will know what to do for the child in the head. Otherwise, the parents might get panic. Oh, all of a sudden, how my child's why my child's learning ability not able to catch up in school. Then only some because we see that some of the parents that catch up the kids that dyslexic only in the very later stage, which it can be prevented in a much earlier stage, like in the during the kindergarten school, rather than when they come to the like a primary three, primary four, primary five. At the time, it's like he or she might be struggling to catch up with the learning in this class already. Just so you see, so that is a benefit of it mainly. So to give you well informed decision on that. All right.
I think
Yeah.
even year for dyslexic kids, year one
Yeah.
and year two, they already are lagging behind in terms of
Yes.
being dyslexic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, like for me, I had colorectal cancer even
Mm,
when my parents and grandparents
mm,
didn't have it.
mm-hmm,
So, when I did the genetic test, the oncology profile said that I had
mm,
moderate
mm,
risk
mm,
of getting colorectal cancer. So I was like,
mm,
okay, but I actually had
mm,
higher risk for certain types of other cancers,
mm,
which kind of now I should definitely do more regular checks on that. So
yeah,
it gives us a
mm-hmm,
head start to
yeah,
find out more about these things and actually do precautionary measures to actually prevent
yeah,
it, right?
yeah,
So
exactly. Mm,
um, can you tell everyone who's watching now what is
mhm.
genetic testing in layman terms? What
Okay.
is it?
All right. Genetic testing is something that is like it can get a specimen from few area, meaning that to test your DNA. Okay. So in Chinese it's 基因. All right. So 要去衡量那个基因. All right. So to measure this DNA. So based on the data and statistics, right, and then from the general populations which have been published through the publications. So in terms of that, the specimen that basically that we can collect is through the blood, all right, to like a normal blood specimen, like you go look for the blood checkout and all this. So and another way of getting it is through the barcode swab, all right. And the barcode swab is another way of so all this like for the kids maybe like if they're afraid of needle, so probably that we can use through the barcode using the barcode swab to get it. So these are the two specimens that we collect, to send it for the test. So basically, DNA test in terms of layman is basically to measure your DNA. I believe that most of the people know what is DNA, all right?
Yes.
So the word DNA. So, but in reality, what it is about is actually very deep in. So if you
Yeah.
wanted to really know more, I had to draw out the whole chromosome to let you understand. Is DNA is a set of like coding, you know, for the protein specific functions. All right. If you're lacking that of the coding of that gene coding, then probably you'll be deficient of certain elements, so that it then it couldn't functions or it function at the suboptimal. So that is a set. DNA is a set of the protein coding in it. It's like we call it a gene basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So no wonder when I get back all my reports, which is huge, a lot of reports, I see a
Yes.
lot of alphabets and numbers. I guess those are the genes
All
or the
right.
codes or whatever.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. If the
so
report can be the
like,
whole tons of it, yeah. If you go
yeah,
through
I
the
have
full
so
report, the
many of
report can be
it. Yes,
yes.
it's huge. What type of genetic testing is Dynamics offering actually? What
Okay.
type of things that does Dynamics test for? I think you can go like I think there's 11 of it, right? 11
Yeah.
things profiles in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah. All right. Basically, dynamics testing is it really can give you a very much higher accuracy. I would say that more than 99%, 99 point no, so, 99 more than 99% of accuracy on the test. So a lot of people wondering how accurate it is. I'm sure that but before people asking it, I will just put it up first in advance. So there are few elements, few bundle of tests that we can have, starting from like a general oncology. I mean, like people afraid of cancers and all, one of the main killers, beside the heart disease, heart attack as a killers in the whole world. Even though in US or in this part of the world or in Malaysia, or in European. So both for cancers and heart disease isn't like a kind of number one and number two killers. So from the state of oncology, we can set up a measure like from the bone cancers and then skin cancers, lung cancers, and brain cancers, and then any like a liver, including liver or breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancers, all sorts of cancers that that can be reported. I mean, can be tested. You see, all these things can be measured. So from this general oncology and then boiling down, it can go into a very specific test. Like for example, if you really think that you have a very high risk of a breast cancer because it run in your maternal, in your mom, or in your aunties, or in your sibling sisters, so it's a very strong family history of it, then there's a one test that is like called BRCA, BRCA, which is very specific for the breast test. So we can boil it down to that level. So, or if let's say you have kind of like you know that there is this like a strong family history from the colon cancer, you want to see that specifically, that it can go into very specific of a colon cancer kind of a test. So same go to the heart, you see, same go to the heart, like the cardiometabolic, all right, and then we will measure kind of like whether your heart atrial fibrillations, whether your heart coronary heart disease, your heart attack, that kind of a risk, where is your risk status. So it can go into like even into the nutrigenomics, like what kind of supplements that you are lacking in your body, because some of the vitamins or some of the these component elements that can be produced within our body, like most of the vitamins, like that that some of it you are more tendency to be deficient, so it's important for you to replace it back, because we know that multivitamins and some kind of minerals, the metals, they are important for the cellular functions. So if you do not know that which are lacking, then you are just buying supplement, just like blind procedures of in the hope that you are getting the benefit out of it. But to be more exact and accurate, when you do the test and you are be more well informed what your nutritional supplement that you are wanted to get, because in the now today you walk into like Watsons, like the Guardians, like there are so much of nutritional supplements on the red, and which is the best for you, you might not know, you see. So probably you were just like listening to your friend, oh, this is good, that is good, this is good, that is good, but you just choose for it. But is the gene of them your friend and yours is the same? The answer definitely is no. So you need to know of your own individual genes, so that you can get the best prescription or best supplements to complement it back. So that is why we call it a very personalized and very customized to your individual needs. Because you see, and because if you are married, your spouse, husband and wife, you could be different. You see, the genetic hereditary is totally different, definitely. So you cannot say that it can be generalized like for everyone. That that's why people take like certain vitamins, no effects, okay? And some people say, oh, it's very effective. Why? So that's the answer all lie within the DNA test. All right, so it can go out to like into the wellness, like even though for the athletics, if you are sportsman person, so it can help in just detecting your muscle strength, your muscle elasticity, that is to improve your athletic performance and all those, even to boil down to that is categorized under the wellness conditions, you see. So of course, like we have a like a test for the skin, even if those people who are the beauty lover or the aesthetic lover, all right, you want your skin like to be great, like Maisie, having a great skin, complexions and
No,
all
I
those.
don't.
So, yeah, you see, she is still not satisfied yet, you see. She want to get it better and better, right? When you have it get a good, you wanted to be better of the skin conditions. Okay, anyway, so this is another one thing, because why some people have a higher chance of breaking down the collagens. That's what we call the glycations of the or oxidative stress into your skin level. So in that way, then your collagen will break down much easier and you age much faster, generally, in terms of like we call it a premature aging. So by doing the DNA test, there's a separate test of it for the skin conditions, that that you can know what kind of nutritional supplements or collagen that you need to take more for your skins, because you have that kind of lacking. So you need to build it up, you see, because within your body itself, over the time, as the time pass on, the collagen will deteriorate. The amount of collagen,
Yeah.
it's not like compared to the young baby when we are just born, right? The baby just born, so the collagen amount is a really tremendous amount. So these are the example of some of our applications of a different set of tests that we can go in. Of course, to get it more accurate and what type of test that the individual really needs, then you have to come on to us, like to the right practitioners, for the right consultations, so that we can craft out the needs for you and for your individual, so that you don't spend excessively or unnecessarily, all right, to get a tons of report that might not be useful to you. So it's important that when you get the right consultation, right reports, and right intervention, I'm sure that the lifestyle, your modification will be, you will get the best out of it. So basically, this test is just need to do once in a lifetime. You don't have to repeat it every
Yeah,
certain years. You don't have to repeat that. Not necessary. All right. So that
that's
is a good
true.
thing about it. You just need to do one night, because your gene is your gene. That's it.
Yeah, you never change.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
in
true.
you, because it's the gene that you have. You see, everyone
Yeah.
have that. Okay, all right. I
Um,
hope that answer most of the. Okay,
yeah, I
yeah,
think it
okay.
answers quite a bit of the questions actually by Sansan. Are there
Mm,
different types of genetic testing out there? I mean, I mentioned I
okay.
tried three so far. I mean, genomics
Mm,
being the last one, and I
mm,
feel really accurate and what I needed. So,
mm.
there are, right?
Mm. Okay, there are some others lab tests are outside there, of course, but they are giving a different kind of parameters to be measured, of course, based on the accuracy as well. So, of course, the different lab will give you a confidential confidence level of accuracy, as I mentioned just now. In the dynamics here, that the lab's test report is more than 99%, which is considered at a high accuracy. In terms of that, so I wouldn't say that others are not good or how, but I will say that it's definitely um, in here what Dynamics is doing is that, and Gen Clinic that we work out on in this because we decide to consult the patients before the test because some other tests is like you can purchase it online. When you buy it online and they send the kits to you without the proper consultation, you take the swab, you send it back to them. When the report come back to you, and you do not know how to interpret it, and you do not know what is the level of a benefit you can get out of it. Probably you just get a set of reports. Yes, you got it in hand, but you do not know how to extract the best
To interpret.
information,
Yeah.
interpretations from the report itself. And you do not know that, because you see there is a very much difference from what we are doing here, Dynamics and Gem Clinic here, because we want to see you in person first, so that we take a history of yours. When you, let's say, you make an appointment to come over to see us, and then we take your full history, and then that's process, and we take your family history, your past history, all right, and then from there, and then of what in your mind that you're concerned of, all right, what is a major concern that in your mind? Are you concerned of premature aging, or are you concerned of a certain risk of higher risk of cancer? So we can advise that appropriately, so that we can craft out the needs for you, the needs of exact needs of a DNA test report for you. So when you have exact needs of DNA test for you, then you can, when the report is out, you are more well informed of the needs that you're prepared for, so that you can know what exact interventions that are coming in to meet your best needs, you see. So that is a very crucial, that's very important. We cannot just like take a swab and send it back. You might not get the best out of it. Yes, you spend money, but you might not get the best reports, you see, in your hands. So
Yeah.
there is a difference between the Dynamics, how they do it. So that's why they look out for the doctors, like with a Gem Clinic, like work out with first. So that there will be a proper consultations going through, all right, without obligations at all right. When you decided, then we can just sign up for the test and wait for 2 weeks for the test report to come back. So when the test report comes, we will call you back, and then to explain through every individual test that you have already taken out, so that you can get the maximum information out of it. All right. So that is great for I'm sure that this is the best of ROI, for every individual, because it's about your DNA, about your risk, about your health and your DNA set of it, which should never be known before, right? Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are watching, I have one last question. I suggest all of you please ask your questions and bring it up right now so I can bring it up later with Dr. Ling as well. And of course, I'll tell you how to win yourselves a very discounted genetic testing. So, just stay with us, stay tuned. My last question is, once we know the results, how can it help us? What does dynamics do to help us understand the results? I think you did answer it already about, you will go through the reports with us, but
Mm,
more so for people who are watching, how can it
mm,
help us exactly? Let's say you have a high risk for BRCA, like what Sansan said. Should we then remove our breasts, like what Angelina Jolie did?
okay. All right. So when you know that when you do the BRCA test, for example, all right, and you know that you're at a higher risk, okay, not necessarily you have to remove the breast yet, you see, but it's just that you need to do, okay, at that stage, it's just that in the DNA, you are at a higher risk group. So what you need to do is that you just need to do a regular checkup, a yearly or annual checkup, or you can do a regular at the home. You can do a self breast examinations, not as simple. Whenever you detect a certain nodule or some lump, and I'm sure that I advise you to get and see your breast surgeons immediately for the ultrasound. And all these are very simple and not expensive examinations, and you can do it regularly even. So then you can take a biopsy if you find it there's a lump, and use the biopsy to detect, and that is under the histopathology examinations. So that is to confirm that, to diagnose whether this is a breast cancer. And from that onwards, then I'm sure that your doctors will advise you accordingly further. So you do not have to, like, once the test is confirmed there's a BRCA have a high risk, you have to remove the breast. No, the answer is not for that, because that is more for you, for yourself, so that you'll be more aware to do a regular self breast examination at home, which every ladies, I'm sure that in the school children, some of the school that teach it, how to do a basic self breast examinations, right? And then I mean, like, this is a very good indication to start off with. The moment you felt anything, unsure or some suspicious lump, go and see the doctors, get the examinations of it, and then do some biopsy of it. Biopsy is a very simple procedure. It's not very, very invasive, right? And then we just take out some of the tissue under local, and then send to the lab, and then to test that to confirm whether it is a malignant, whether it's a cancerous or just a benign tissue. So you
But
can
we
have a
don't
peace of
want
mind. Yeah.
but we don't want to get to the breast cancer stage, right? So
Yes.
can
Yeah.
like
So okay,
yeah.
before you get the breast cancer, so that's why you see breast cancer is it like, when you develop as a small lump, you can detect it early, right? And you can take the necessary precaution, not
Okay,
until
yeah,
like
that's
it
true.
spread until probably you, when you first detect it, if you do that regular checkup, you will stage at maybe stage 1 or stage 2 maybe. You don't have to wait until the stage 3 or stage 4, or it's spread out to other parts of the organs, then only causing a problem, right? So with this kind of test, you are be more aware. That means you are more vigilant towards your day-to-day daily life. Of course, then you will be more cautious about the food that you are intake, you see, and the lifestyles you are having. Maybe like, most likely that you will not going to smoke anymore, right? If you have the kind of habit of smoking, you will stop completely probably, because you know that I have a higher risk of breast cancer because from the DNA test report. So in that way, it really changed your lifestyle, you see, because
Yeah.
you are more vigilant and of your life, you are more vigilant of your health conditions. You do not want to get into that kind of stage by preventing what you still can take control of, you see. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
that is a
doing I think
yeah.
doing genetic testing is very important in terms of control. At least
Mm,
when you know that you are at high risk for certain diseases, what you
mm-hmm.
can do is go for your regular checks and you check for those specific parts. I think that's what
Yes.
Dr. Ling is trying to say. When
Mm,
you know, at least you can do something about it, which is to prevent. And when
yeah.
you prevent, you're able to detect as well. All these things come hand in hand, and it's very important for us in terms of our health. When we detect, at least it wouldn't be at a full blown stage, or we are able to detect at a much earlier stage, things like that. So I think
Mm,
that is one of the huge benefits of doing a genetic test.
mm-hmm.
Correct,
Yep,
Dr. Ling?
yep, yep, that's right. Yeah. You don't wait
Yeah.
to, because a lot of people, you see, for example, colon cancer, all right, when you do the test, all right, and compared to the colon cancer, sometimes the polyps of growth have been in there for many, many years. If you do not know there is a, do not know the DNA test report early years, you will never do a investigation until one day, maybe you are passing motions, and then when you go to pool, you will see some blood stain, and you started to worry, right? And then you go through, like, go to the scan, ultrasound, CT scan, or even the colonoscope, right? So then that process, like, probably that growth have been in there for 5 years, could be in there for 10 years. We do not know, right? Until the
Yeah.
sign and symptom is arise. But what DNA test will tell you is that now, if let's say once you tested out that you have a higher risk, all right, then you know that what kind of diet you had to do, and you had to do a regular checkup on your colon as at least once a year or at least 2 years, one even, right? So to prevent it to spread up fast, because then you become more vigilant what to look for. Because in our body,
Yeah.
there are so many things, right? You go to the doctor, please scan my body. There's so much thing for the doctor to scan, the
Yeah.
radiologist to scan. So we have to order it very specifically. And you know that I myself have a higher risk of this colon cancer, that I will go for colonoscope at least, that to see. All right, at least then to do some ultrasound, which is non-invasive, non-radiation also. So I can do it, frequently. It's not expensive investigation as well, and it's very easily accessible. So all this can be a main choice. Of course, then you can do it like 2 years, or I mean like a 3 years once of like CT scan or something, or if you're suspicious of something, you see. So if otherwise, then
Yeah.
you can do some regular control of your checking, over the years time. Because why? The DNS test report have already told you that you got to stay vigilant to your health condition to avoid this from happening. Of course, in the terms of like food intake, then you know that I should take more high fiber diet. I shouldn't take so much of like BBQ stuff with a lot of charcoals. Then they can increase the higher risk, right? So you can do some life
Yes. I
modification,
see what you
and
mean.
as well as some kind of like smoking again. Smoking is a very strong associated with the cancer. Any type of most of the type of cancers, they're very strong association with it. So that's why I always take that as this example of it. You see, so of course on the diet itself, then you tend to take high fiber so that you can do a more detox colon cleansings, to prevent all this growth of to develop this kind of cancer up. If you really that is a growth in there, you can pick up at the much early stage, even.
Yeah.
You see, because why? You have been informed, you do the regular checking, and you can pick up earlier rather than
Okay.
sit inside there for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. Once it's full blown, oh, it already metastasized to the liver, it already metastasized or spread to sorry of my medical jargon, it already spread to other part of the organ like liver, like, to the bone, the kind of things. So it's already very advanced that you like, very hard to turn it back unless miracle does happen. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dr. Ling. Now,
Sure. Mm.
I'm gonna ask the questions now based on what the
Yes.
questions that come in. I'm gonna pick them up. So,
Sure. Yeah.
one of the questions is genetic testing available in all medical centers? No, I can answer that. No. And how do we choose a
Thank you.
reliable one? I can answer this too because based on my experience, I've tried 3 different ones, and I believe in genomics because of the fact that they test for the profiles that are related to diseases, and you need that to prevent certain diseases that you could actually inherit. So I would recommend Dynamics, and once I'll also put the WhatsApp number for you guys to call and ask the questions that you need to ask in terms of costings or to set an appointment with a doctor to decide what type of tests that you need, what type of genes you're supposed to test for. So I'm going to put it after this session. I'm going to put a WhatsApp number for you guys to contact. And please, I would like to also stress choose a reliable one. I highly recommend Dynamics because they have really, really good labs. So, how often should we do the test? Like what Dr. Ling mentioned, once only because your genes don't change. Mr. Tang Manhoi said, how much will it cost? So,
Mm.
that Dr. Ling, do you want to answer that or should we just
I
put
can
it in
answer
the
that, no problem.
WhatsApp number?
No, I can, yeah, I can answer all them. No,
Okay.
it's nothing, it's a transparent anyway. It's nothing hidden cost or something like that. So, all right, for this, for the test cost itself is because as I mentioned, it can test for the very wide range. If you want to go for the full test, entire full, the report can be so thick, you know. I try to
Yeah.
look to the camera, can be very thick report. All right. If you wanted to look for specific thing, all right, then maybe like a certain profile, then of course it's much cheaper, right? So compared like the price range can range from 1,008, starting from 1,008, all right, 1,800 to about 12,000 if you go for the full report of it, which
Yeah.
maybe might not be necessary to go through all so many. the
Yeah.
basic one, usually first 2 or 3 tests that necessary. Of course, unless you want to know your DNA for the whole entire things. Yes, some people pick up that as well. So all depends, on the individual needs again. So of course, like, how much the amount, of course, when in the gem clinic, we will try to guide you what kind of test report that you would really like you necessarily need for it. If
Yeah.
unnecessary, usually we will not advise you to go for it either. You don't have to spend that kind of money for it. So by the way, all our consultations are free, no obligations anyway. Feel free to call up for the appointments, and we give a free consultation to you. So there's no fees for it. So rest assured on that, and with peace of mind. So this is part of, like, I believe that the right information need to share out, and to the public. So that
Yeah.
is the more important. And from there on, after you see me, the consultation, then only you make a decision. It's fine. You see, so there is no obligated. When you come out, you have to sign up. No, don't feel of such. So most important thing, you get your advice, your consulting right, and then finding the right doctors or right your real practitioners, and then right test, which is I'm doing is a dynamics, all right, dynamics of it, and because the accuracy is high and the report profile is very specific, so that's why we wanted to choose
Yeah.
this
I agree.
as a main part of our practice in GEM here. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I would like to add that, like, for me, I took the
Mm,
oncology profile, which was it tests 36 cancers, and that's 1,008. So it's
yeah.
1,008 for the entire oncology profile. I
Mm,
like that. I like the price. It's not too expensive, and it's something that tells me what type of cancers I'm predisposed to. For like
mm,
cardiovascular and metabolism, that's an additional amount of like 1,008, I believe, right? Thousand
mm,
eight, two
yeah.
thousand,
Yeah.
and the more tests, the more profiles you take, the less the cost is
That
cheaper,
will
actually.
cost, it will bring it down. Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's why I
that's
can give
what
you the
I
range
know.
of
That's
between
what I did.
1,008. Yeah, that's why I can give you
Yeah,
the range from 1,008 to 12,000. If you get the whole entire full profile of it, then of course it will be, the more expensive of it. But of course, individual tests become lesser. But if you go for the start, just want to do one profile test of it, then of course inside one profile test there are many genes have been marked up. Yeah, you can see a
yeah.
lot of reports inside there. All right. So
Okay.
yeah,
So next
any
question, doctor,
question? Yeah.
is it true that genes can be regulated? That means upregulation and downregulation, causing the genes to express differently over time. And does that
Mm.
affect the DNA expression?
Okay. That is when you are exposed out to your very high risk conditions. For example, you are exposure to the radiations. If you're working, for example,
Okay.
working in a nuclear pump, then probably that is one of the risks that you will be exporting out. Yes. But of course, the basic gene will not be changed, but it can be mutated or it can be radiated, like upregulated in sequencing, right? And that is provided your environmental that you are in, that, is a very, very high risk. Yeah. So that is a
Okay.
condition of it. Yeah. Of course, when it changed, it only changed in that particular gene segment of a chromosome. It doesn't
I
change the
see.
whole entire sequencing of chromosome. Only is a certain set of a gene that easily like radiated over a certain period of time. Then of course it can upregulate and downregulate to change the coding, to mutate the coding of that particular segment. Yeah. Because inside the
Okay.
chromosomes, there are many sequencing of genes, not the whole entire chromosome for sure. All right. Yeah. Just
So,
maybe just one very little part of it only. Yeah.
so it's just a small, it's a minor part of it, of the chromosome. So for that particular DNA expression. So Mandy, I hope
Mm,
that answers your question. If you want to find out
mm,
more, I'll give you the WhatsApp number after this. Like I said, I'll put it in the
mm.
comment section. Doctor, where's the test done? And does Dynamics have their own labs?
Oh, yeah. Dynamics does have their own labs. Yes, they do. So what we do is that when you come to the clinic, when you decide after the consultations and you have been informed of what is the cause and you decide that you wanted to take up the test, then we will take your blood immediately, and then we can take your swab, and then we send it to the lab. And then
Okay.
usually the turnaround time, the report will come back in 2 weeks' time. And by
Yeah.
the then, we'll call you back again, and then to go through with you one to one that detailing of the reports and what you need to look for. Yeah. Okay, that's how the process like. Mm.
Thanks, doctor. The next question is there are a few companies doing DNA testing. So,
Mm.
okay, this one I think I can help you answer. Some popular ones using artists and ambassadors, and some are newly launched and even come to their doorstep to promote their packages. They even have an app that will input the details of the results. So, how do you choose a good one? I would not recommend those because that was the second test I did, and I don't trust the results at all. I can say safely say that dynamics for me has been good because, like I said, I had a health scare, and weirdly so, I did the genetic test during that time as well for the oncology profile, and it told me that I'm more predisposed to a certain type of cancer. And I was very surprised, and I then started being more vigilant, and I noticed some stuff, and it told me the things that I needed to do, which told me that the test is actually accurate. Like the test with the ambassadors and artists, FYI, I tried that one. And it told me that I'm not at risk for any cancers at all. So, I mean, that's not true because I had colorectal cancer, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope that
because
answers your
usually
question.
the Lynch syndrome that we have, like which is called under the also known as SNPCC. That means a hereditary non-polyposis colorectal cancer. It's a type of inherited cancer syndrome, which is associated high risk associated with a certain
Yes.
types of cancer. So that means not only just a colon cancer itself.
Yeah, I know.
So if that report coming back to you, that's stating that you are not at a high risk, but you are diagnosed with a Lynch syndrome, it's not true at all.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
get the idea?
diagnosed with
Yeah,
this syndrome. So
yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
um,
You know?
Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Cindy.
Yeah.
And Joseph, is
Mm.
this test part of medical insurance coverage? I don't think so, right, doctor?
Hope that one day insurance agency will pick up
I
that,
also
but
hope
not at
so.
this day. Yes, so that it will benefit more people, right? Yeah. So at this stage,
um,
it's still not yet. So we don't know. Maybe things will change around when the times move on. Yeah. Hope that everyone
yes.
will be benefit out of it. Yeah. Mm. Okay.
So Tangman Ahoy asks, how many profiles are there in total? I think there's 10,
Wow.
right? Yeah.
Oh, there are actually okay. There are 12 main categories, all right, of our profiles. But each of the profiles inside there are many of our markers that we can test. All right, there are
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of it. Yeah. So in one of the profiles, so it can be ranging from like different markers. Usually they will pick up like those markers that we had the highest risk from the list up from the higher risk to the least. So they will put in the report. All right, and that's why I said the report can be like a
Yeah, I
whole
know.
set of the whole things. It's even bigger than the textbook or whatever the textbook that you have in your universities or in your school time. Yeah.
Okay. So I think Manhoy, if for you, you should go and consult the doctor, and then the doctors will advise you what type of profiles that you should take because you're not supposed to take everything. You might
Yeah.
even just need one profile, so that's about
Yeah.
1,008. Okay, I'm gonna give the giveaway like really shortly, so please stay with us. I have just two more questions that we will take. Sansan asked, do you have clinics outside of West Malaysia, as some of them don't reside in West Malaysia?
Oh, okay. At the moment now we don't have a clinic in out of Malaysia, West Malaysia, is it?
Yeah, that means like
Okay.
Sabah Sarawak.
Yeah. At the moment now we doesn't have. We mainly based in KL, Mid Valley, below what here. So our clinic is located here right now. So so far we haven't get to the East Malaysia. Of course, when one day there is like no collaborations with clinic locally over there, then they can provide this kind of service. Then it will be available.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sansan Dynamics is actually they work with a panel of doctors. They might have a doctor in East Malaysia, but if they do, I'll let you know,
Yep.
because they work with different types of doctor.
Mm,
And Gem Clinic is one of them, and Dr. Ling is
mm,
the founder of Gem Clinic. So I will get back to you on that. Let me ask Dynamics. And Fuiqing
mm,
asks, can consultations be done virtually, or do they need to go to like your clinic and things like that?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It can be arranged through the virtual arrangement. No problem. You can do the virtual
Okay.
like consultation is fine because of a digital era. We can optimize that kind of this available technology, for to do the consultations. Of course, if you wanted to see our clinic to give you more confidence level that there is a proper clinic, so that you doesn't just pop into any getting some kind of a kids that that is not relevant, so whether this is a proper clinic or not. So sometimes people like to pop up to see that, oh, this is a actual premise of physical outlets, there is a proper doctors in there, nurses around, they are
Yeah.
professionals and this and that. Yeah, of course some people would like to have that, but if you choose to go for virtual, no problem, we can provide that kind of service. There's not an issues. Yeah, we can do that.
I think Sansan, you can consider
Mm,
doing virtual with
mm,
Dr. Ling as well. If you like today's session and you want to talk to him further, you can actually arrange a virtual meet because the
yeah.
buccal swabs can actually be done, can be sent over to West Malaysia. So I think that would be a
Mm,
good choice for you, Sansan. Consider that.
yeah.
All
Mm,
right. So thanks, Dr. Ling. I'm going to
yeah.
announce how you guys can win
Wow.
the giveaway. Since we had such a
Wow.
long and extensive topic today on genetic testing and how it mitigates risks for
Mm,
diseases,
mhm.
we are going to give away 500 ringgit off any genetic testing that you sign up with Dynamics. So go ahead and tell me why you need to do a genetic test, why you feel you need to do a genetic test, or if you think of someone else that needs it, tag that person and tell us why but you feel the person needs it. Just comment in the section and we'll pick 3 to 5 lucky winners to win this 500 ringgit voucher off the test. So if it's 1,008, you get 500 ringgit off. It's 1,003. If you just want the oncology profile, I think this is perfect. It's 1,300 for the entire, whether you get the most of the cancers or not, or even if you're higher risk for diabetes, you can take the cardio and metabolism one.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
how to win it again? It's 500 ringgit off the genetic test one.
Mhm.
That is the gift voucher. And how to win it is just tell me why you feel that doing a genetic test is important for yourself. If it's not for you, tag the person that you would like to give it to, and you feel that it's important for them. Just tell me and comment in the section. We'll end the comment section tomorrow night at 11 p.m., which is 17th of August at 11 p.m. So let us know, and we want to hear from you. And of course, we'd like to encourage you to share this session. I think this is very informative, especially for the right genetic test to do and why I personally believe in dynamics. Um, I swear this is not paid or anything. I invited them on the show because I actually believe in what they do and I've tested it on
Thank you.
myself and I got some profiles.
Thank you,
So
Maisie.
Dr. Ling represents one of the panel doctors on Dynamics, which is the lab testing for the profiles that you're probably going to try for. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We wish you good luck to win it. Like I
Yeah.
said, 3 to 5. If there are many comments, then we'll give it to 5 winners. If less comments, then 3 winners. And we want to hear from
Maisie, you know what? Just for audience, it's like a test for them to put it out whether they catch the thoughts or not. Yeah.
yeah, I want to know their thoughts really. I want to know why they
Okay.
were
Good.
interested. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Dr. Ling, for
Yeah.
being
Mm,
informative today and telling us more about
mm.
what genetic testing is about and about dynamics. Thank you so much.
Sure. Welcome. Yeah. Pleasure to have you as well. Yeah. To come on board.
Yeah, and
Sure.
thank you for answering
Thank you
most
for
of the
all.
questions.
Yeah, thank you for all the audiences out there. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I hope
thank
that
you
you
so
at
much
least
for watching.
get the gist out of it about, like,
Yeah,
really detailing into what is DNA test. Of course, you want to find out more one-to-one, just call up and then set out the appointments. Usually, we are more of appointment based, and so that you doesn't have to wait long. No waiting time, not too long for you, and to do a more accurate, proper consultations for your side. All right, as I mentioned, is no obligation at all. The consultation are free anyway. All right, just feel free just to call up and make an appointment to see us. Yeah. All right. Thanks
all
everyone
right.
out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And
All right.
one
Thank you.
last thing, Joseph Siu, please PM me your details for as you want the Cabana Acai bars, and they're trying to contact you. I hope you're still watching this. All right. And thank you so much to all of you watching. Next week,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about children cancers. I
Mm.
have a guest who's a survivor of a child. She was a child cancer survivor, and she had cancer twice of different types of cancer.
Wow. Mm.
So please join me next week. I will talk. I will have her as a guest, and she's very inspiring. And thank you so much,
Yeah.
Dr. Ling, once again.
Thank you. Thanks, Macy. Thanks, audience out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
thanks
Yeah. Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.